In a quiet little town there lived a woman named Elena Marlowe. If you asked anyone who knew her, they'd tell you she was the epitome of politeness. Soft-spoken, always ready to lend a hand, but incredibly private. She was the kind of neighbor you'd wave to every morning, the kind of person who seemed perfectly ordinary. But for 15 years, Elena was living a life that was anything but ordinary. It was a life built on a foundation of lies, a mystery that no one, not a single person in that town, ever saw coming. Imagine knowing someone for over a decade, only to discover that the person you thought you knew never actually existed. That's exactly what happened with Elena Marla. When investigators started looking into her life, they hit a brick wall. Her job history, fabricated. Her school records, didn't exist. Even the address she listed on official documents turned out to be a cleverly constructed fake. In today's hyper-connected world, having virtually no digital footprint before the age of 25 is more than just unusual. It's a massive red flag. It was as if Elena Marlowe had simply materialized out of thin air one day, with a complete, albeit false, identity. Looking back, the signs were there all along, scattered like breadcrumbs that no one thought to follow. The townspeople remembered her strange habits, things they had brushed off as simple quirks. For instance, Elena was almost pathologically camera-shy at town festivals, community gatherings, even casual get-togethers. She would skillfully dodge every photo opportunity. People just assumed she was self-conscious. She changed her phone number frequently, always with a vague excuse about getting too many spam calls. It was inconvenient for her friends, but they let it slide. And then there was her house. No one, not a single person, had ever been inside. Invitations were always politely declined with a smile and a quiet explanation that her home was her sanctuary. When asked about her past, her family, or where she grew up, the answer was always the same: a somber look and a quiet mention of painful memories she was ready to talk about. Out of respect, people stopped asking. They saw a woman healing from a private sorrow, not a woman hiding an incredible secret. They accepted her privacy, never once suspecting it was a fortress built to conceal a lie. Then, on a completely unremarkable Tuesday morning, Elena Marlowe vanished. She left for work just like any other day, but she never arrived. Her car was later found in a public parking lot, neatly parked between the lines. The keys were still in the ignition, and her purse was on the passenger seat. There were no signs of a struggle, no broken glass, no indication of foul play whatsoever. It was as if she had simply parked her car and walked away from her life, disappearing as mysteriously as she had arrived 15 years earlier. The town was baffled. Where could their quiet, predictable neighbor have gone? The investigation into her disappearance quickly turned into something far stranger. As detectives began digging, they made a shocking discovery. The real Elena Marlowe, the woman whose name she had been using, had died in a car accident 15 years ago, hundreds of miles away. The woman the town knew as Elena was an imposter. She had stolen a dead woman's identity and had been living under her name for a decade and a half. Every single piece of identification she had ever presented, her driver's license, her social security card, her birth certificate, was either a masterful forgery or had been stolen. The polite, quiet woman from down the street was a ghost, with a search warrant in hand. Police finally entered the house that no one had ever been allowed inside. What they found only deepened the mystery. Most of the house was sparse, almost sterile, but one room was locked from the outside. When they forced it open, they found the secret heart of her operation. Inside was a collection of different wigs in various colors and styles. There were multiple passports, each bearing her picture but with a different name and nationality. They found financial documents, bank statements, and credit cards under several different aliases. On a small desk, there were stacks of photographs showing people the townspeople had never seen before, strangers smiling in family portraits, children playing in a park. Was this her real family? A life she had left behind? The contents of this room suggested something chilling. The woman they knew as Elena wasn't just hiding from the town. She was hiding from someone else. Someone from her past. The elaborate web of lies wasn't just to maintain her privacy. It was a sophisticated defense mechanism. The search for her true identity began. Investigators ran her fingerprints through every national and international database they could access. There were no matches. They released her photograph to the public, hoping a family member or a former friend might come forward. But there was nothing. No one recognized her. No one stepped forward to claim her. It was as if she had no past, no family, no history at all. The woman who had lived among them for 15 years remained a complete and total enigma. Who was she really? For the residents of her small town, this was the most disturbing part of the entire affair. They had shared coffee with this woman, waved to her every day, exchanged pleasantries at the grocery store. They thought they knew her. But the reality was, they knew nothing. They didn't know her real name, her real age, or where she came from. Every memory they had of her, every conversation, every interaction, was with a carefully constructed character. They had known a phantom for 15 years, and not a single person had ever glimpsed the real woman underneath. The realization sent a shiver through the entire community. But the final twist was yet to come. Tucked away inside a book in the secret room, investigators found a small, handwritten note. The handwriting matched samples they had of Elena's writing. The note was short, just a single, haunting sentence. I only wanted a life where no one could find me. The words hung in the air, a final, cryptic message from a woman who had vanished. It confirmed their suspicion she was on the run. But it also opened up a whole new set of terrifying questions. Who was looking for her? And what had she done that was so terrible she had to erase her entire existence and live in hiding for 15 years? To this day, the case remains unsolved. Her real name is unknown. Her true past is a blank page. The reason she ran, and the identity of who she was running from, remain one of the most chilling and baffling unsolved mysteries of our time. The woman who called herself Elena Marlowe succeeded in her goal. She created a life where no one could find her, and in the end she disappeared from that life too, leaving behind nothing but questions and a ghost story that the small town will never forget. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed diving into mysteries like this, be sure to subscribe for more.